Hi, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, loud, clear. Let me add a spotlight to you first. Good morning to you, sir, and you can share your screen now.
1 second.
We're able to see the screen. So we can start with the presentation.
1 second. Can you see my screen? And just want to check if you're only seeing the main screen and
Yes,
not
sir.
anything
Yes,
else.
we are able to see the main screen.
All right. So I think we can get started.
Yes. Can we restart the timer, please? Yes. Thank you. So over to you.
Yeah. Good morning, esteemed judges. My name is Gopal Ratnam, and I am the Vice President of Generative AI Products and Platforms for Service Delivery Excellence at HCL Tech. I'm going to talk to you about a very interesting platform called AI Force that we have built from ground up to solve complex problems across the software development lifecycle, i.e. SDLC, across requirements planning through design to development, testing, DevOps, documentation, and support and maintenance. So this is the agenda of what I'll be covering today, and it's in alignment with what has been recommended as per the rules by all the presenters. And at the end, I will also be showing a quick demo, a live demo of AI Force for you to see that in action. So what's the problem that we are really trying to solve here? AI Force addresses the unmet needs of all the key personas who have been involved in building and maintaining software applications from time immemorial. The painstaking work that has been undertaken by product managers, software architects and designers, software developers, testers, documentation writers, and support engineers to bring high quality products on time to market to enrich our lives as users and consumers has still left these individuals bearing the burden of manual, tedious, extremely challenging, and many a times repetitive work. While they have been collectively called the magicians behind the wow factor of software applications, but no one has really addressed the pain points of these magicians. We plan to change that with AI Force. With AI and generative AI applications and capabilities at the very foundation, AI Force now injects intelligence into every facet of the SDLC to make their work enjoyable and productive each day. Happier SDLC practitioners and participants mean better products built with love and care and not with agony and pain. We have not only created industry's first generative AI platform for accelerating SDLC, but we have actually deployed it successfully at dozens of real customers across industries where it has made a significant impact by driving efficiencies and productivity. AI Force is not just another coding assistant, but it has a much broader appeal. Based on our 50 plus years of being an IT service leader and having serviced thousands of clients across multiple industries, we have learned to take a look at the big picture to see where we can create meaningful impact instead of jumping in and trying to solve one specific siloed problem. We are not competing with the dozens of AI coding assistants that are out there, but we are trying to add value to them. As they get better and sharper at code generation activities, we are complementing them with activities that surround coding, both upstream as well as downstream. As you may be aware, in a software development lifecycle, coding just accounts for 15% of the overall effort. We bring value to the remaining 85%, and no one else is doing this today at this breadth and scale. There are a few more things that make AI Force different. We are not tied to any specific large language model provider. It integrates with all of them, whether it's commercial or open source. AI Force doesn't have just one deployment option. It runs everywhere. It can be run on-premise, on private clouds or public clouds. It can run inside the integrated development environment, IDE, or outside, whatever the customer needs. It integrates with systems in a complex, heterogeneous IT landscape that is unique to every customer. It is flexible and allows customers to add their own use cases onto the platform that might not have existed before. It has built-in responsible AI guardrails to ensure that inappropriate and malicious inputs and outputs are blocked. It not only allows for new application development, but it also facilitates migration and modernization efforts from legacy applications to newer stacks. As part of our products and services bundled offering, we deal with each deployment uniquely by fine-tuning the large language models using advanced RAG techniques based on customers' own data to ensure the right results and insights. AI Force is not just a plug-and-play solution. In the complex world of software development lifecycle, we handhold every deployment from start to finish, and that is what makes us unique. We have a strong engineering DNA, and we have over 17 patents in AI and Gen AI. On the sustainability front, we have ensured the least carbon footprint while using AI Force by judiciously pre-processing the workloads and running them in batches such that we interact with the underlying large language models as few times as possible, thereby reducing usage of the underlying CPU and GPU, memory, and other resource hoggers in the overall tech stack. This also reduces the overall LLM inferencing cost for our customers and provides a better ROI. On the social impact front, we have lowered the barriers to entry for new product managers, developers, testers, documentation writers, support engineers to build and maintain complex applications. AI Force allows companies to do things that were previously impossible. And here are a few examples. First, we enable rapid onboarding of large groups of SDLC participants to accelerate new feature development or major changes to software applications. These personas would be productive quickly and require less guidance from existing staff. Secondly, we make SDLC participants more fungible across frameworks, platforms, and products by providing the scaffolding and guidance they need to work on a wide range of projects that they would normally not be able to handle. Thirdly, we make corporations less beholden to skills due to their legacy code base and applications, as more of that legacy knowledge is now built into AI Force fine-tuned generative models. And last but not the least, we ensure better utilization of the global workforce, as a contextually informed AI Force would provide guidance to an offshore team, while senior onshore engineers and product owners focus on other critical client-facing tasks. This also enables changes to the resource mix to take greater advantage of offshore resources. With that, I will jump on to the demo of AI Force here. Hope you can see my application.
So we are able to see it.
So this is AI Force application for software development. Just to show you, this is live, and just talk about a few things that you set up behind the scenes. As I mentioned, AI Force is large language model agnostic. We work with all the industry leading large language models from hyperscalers and other providers. We have security guardrails built into the entire platform where you can govern the input as well as the output that goes into the LLM and comes out of LLM to safeguard and make sure that malicious intent is blocked here and hallucinations are minimized. We have a very comprehensive data load strategy here, where in the SDLC domain, we're able to now upload a variety of different data sets across code, requirements, test cases, and all of that in one repository where you can do some very interesting analysis. And there are a couple of use cases that I can show you. In software development, we have over 10 use cases that you can run. In software testing, there are over a dozen use cases that can be executed here. So for example, if I were to try to understand what a piece of code does in a legacy application, I can come in and actually trigger a code summarization or explanation that can clearly explain every facet of a file, what its purpose is, what the input outputs are, dependencies, and the 360-degree view of that file. Very powerful capability for modernization efforts to understand legacy code.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up. I'll start
Okay.
with the Q&A.
Thank you so much for the time.
Pleasure. Julius, before you ask question, would request if you could please turn on your video. That would better for us to add to your spotlight. If you any of the jury would like to go first with the question, please do. Yes, proceed. Request you to please stop sharing your screen. Mr. Gopal will have the Q&A.
Okay. Okay.
Totally. Your question. Your question, you are on mute.
Are you asking me or someone else?
Ma'am, you would be asking question. Do you have any question?
Okay. Yeah. I've just got a quick question. So when you generate all this interpretation to support the entire software development lifecycle, how do you guarantee that the language model give you the correct answers? Sometimes it does hallucinate, sometimes it does make up things. That's one of the experience we have. So how do you verify the validity of all the comments and summaries and suggestions?
Absolutely. An excellent question. So one of the things that we've actually baked in that I couldn't show you in the demo for lack of time was when the large language model actually generates the output, you have the ability for the user to actually review the output and provide the feedback and rating. So one of the things that we do as part of that feedback loop is to kind of go around and close that loop to really understand what is it that the developer or a tester or a support engineer or a product manager did not like about what the LLM outputted, right? And based on that input and feedback, we retrain and we relearn from that experience and feed that feedback back to the large language models. And that's an iterative loop that we bring into the process.
Okay, so that feedback loop is collecting, yes or no, simple answers, or it's collecting something much more extensive, so like a description of what they don't like.
So the feedback loop has two elements. One is it has a 1 to 5 star rating of what they look at the quality of the output. And secondly, a free form text that these personas can actually enter and try to explain what is it that they didn't like, what was not right. And that is fed
that's
to
great.
the system.
Yeah. It's very impressive. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Professor Nair, your question.
Yeah. Mr. Gopal, you can hear me, I hope.
Yes,
sir.
You're audible.
So I just want to add what has been already asked. Do you do any model explainability of the whole thing? Like, do you have some kind of testing like that?
Yes. So one of the things that we have baked in is what's called as explainable AI into the overall platform, wherein we are able to at least trace the reasons for which it's kind of recommending the kind of output. So we have a knowledge graph behind the scenes in the platform where we are built the entire end-to-end traceability of how the model came from one step to the other and has finally recommended a particular output. So that when somebody sees a piece of code or a piece of test case or a test script that was given to them, they are able to go back and see how did the large language model start from the basic requirement and come up to those final steps of recommending that test case or test script.
So this is given, this freedom is given to the client.
Yes.
Okay. So you have, it seems you have already deployed this in various concerns, right? Companies.
Yes.
So what you must have collected some feedback from them after how many years has it have they worked with it?
So, this is obviously generative AI platform. So it has just been a few months since we have, got it deployed at several customers. And right now, we have a deployment where anywhere from 20-member team to 100+ member teams are actually using this software at various aspects of software development lifecycle. And we are actively collecting feedback from them, trying to really understand where the nuances are, especially, sir, in the world of software development lifecycle. One of the things that is interesting is that these lifecycle phases are linked to each other. So there is implication of what happens in requirements gathering to software design and what happens in software design to coding. And finally, when somebody gets a bug in the support area, they need to understand it was a quality problem that was missed or it was a bad coding practice. So what feedback we are understanding from our users is that can you build a value chain and that can kind of go upstream and downstream to be able to do a very interesting digital thread across the software development life cycle. So that's the kind of hooks and linkages we are trying to make more robust, because they just don't want to solve a particular problem. They want to do a good traceability across the SDLC.
So I have just one typical question regarding the feedback you must have received from. What was the most adverse feedback that you got from them? The worst
Uh,
one.
Well, thing that we actually got feedback was specifically around legacy code, right? Especially when large language models don't understand legacy applications like COBOL, mainframe applications, and others. How do you make sure that what it is trying to summarize and explain? That has been a challenge for us. So that's one area that we're working with some of the hyperscalers there to see how we can solve that problem for our customers.
Okay, okay. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Manindra, your question.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. A couple of questions. You mentioned that you collect feedback from the users. My question is, how do you make use of that feedback to strengthen your system?
So two ways, sir. One is that, see, as part of this offering, we have a platform plus our services offering, right? So one of the things that we do is that, as you know, right, it's just not a plug and play system, right? You don't plug in and you don't get the right output. So one of the things that we attempt to do is after we go live, we look at the feedback that people are giving. Then one thing that we kind of go back and say, since this is customer specific data, we want to make sure that the right techniques are applied in terms of better teaching the LLMs with RAG techniques and fine tuning of those models based on the feedback that we're getting. So we actually have to do a lot of platform engineering behind the scenes work to actually make sure that this gaps that people are experiencing, either whether there was a indexing problem or was it the way the chunking happened of the large corpus of documents that were fed initially, those are the things that we actually try to experiment while we try to see why those gaps were there in the initial output.
So those feedbacks are taken and you try to better engineer your system with that. So do you think it might also be possible to train or fine tune the model in a better way by looking at the feedback? Or it's only by some trial and error of selecting certain hyperparameters or some other language models or something? So which one would be more beneficial according to your knowledge?
Right now, the experience that we are getting, it has been more of a trial and error process, playing with the weights of those models and weights of the parameters. And those are things that we're really trying to experiment. It's not been a simple, no-brainer kind of a thing this way or that way. It has been a very, very iterative and quite painful process actually to get the right output out.
Right. My second question is that your portal has a very wide coverage, as you mentioned, from requirement capturing to design to coding to that entire pipeline. So any other organization who wants to take up this activity, you can assume how they will approach it. And are there any differences that you are bringing in from the set pattern that anybody would follow?
In the sense, maybe I didn't get the question
Question
exactly.
is, suppose somebody else is trying to develop a system for the same purpose. So obviously there will be, some prompts that will be created, some LLMs will be selected, some guardrails will be specified, and in the background, some RAG and other components would also be there. So are there something which you are doing from your side, additional to this set pattern of developing such solutions?
So one of the things that we are trying to focus right now, apart from one of the challenges that our clients are having is they're engaging in a lot of cloud migration and modernization efforts. A lot of them have legacy applications that they're trying to modernize. So while simple things like creating brand new Java applications, C++ applications are very standard, a lot of those things, those tools are there, the coding assistants help. But when they try to migrate from, say, a .NET version of 4.5 to 6, or trying to modernize a COBOL application or a mainframe application, that is where the real challenge comes in, because the understanding of those LLMs really would power those things. So that's why our partnership with a lot of our technology partners in this space has really helped us create a very unique value proposition and differentiator for us, that the customers natively are not able to handle that.
Thank you. I'm done with my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Julius, for your questions. Please enter your score for HCL.
So your
Team
key
HCL.
innovation and differentiator is typically migration of legacy application to new technology.
And cloud native application development.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the last question. And Team HCL, wish you the best with your innovation. Gopal, we have shared a link in the chat box. This link has been also shared with the Team HCL as well.